I'm glad that girl took one for the team. It is actually kind of chilly today. I'm so excited, making me excited for fall. I'm wearing socks and I have a blanket on my lap. What? I guess when you guys are seeing this, it'll almost be fall, but when I'm filming, it's still like full on August. All right, so today it is day 7 of 15 days of foundation. We are almost halfway done. Crazy. So I try out a new foundation every single day for 15 days, 6 p.m. Pacific time. Days 1 through 6 are linked down below in a playlist if you've missed any. If you're new here, welcome to the Bayrito family. Don't forget to subscribe. So today's foundation is kind of throwback. This is the Tarte Amazonian Clay Full Coverage Foundation. When I started getting into foundations and like playing around with higher end ones, this was one of the first foundations I tried out. I actually have a really old video using this. I like to throw in a couple of these kind of foundations once I've already tried out years ago but might not necessarily liked in these series, just to see if my thoughts have changed at all and give it kind of a second chance. I did this with Estee Lauder Double Wear Foundation in last series. This is just one of those foundations that I've always heard really good things about but just never worked for me. So I'm giving it another shot today. This is consistently one of the most asked about foundations, so I figured let's do an updated video on it. As I was doing my 15 days of foundation good old research on Sephora, I was reading some of the reviews that people had left about this foundation and I came across this gem. Here you go. This is for your viewing pleasure. I mean, if that's not the best Sephora review you've ever read, what is? I'm glad that girl took one for the team. So this foundation retails for $39, but you actually get 1.7 ounces of product in here, which is a lot. Typically you get 1 ounce of product. It comes in 25 shades. I have the lightest shade Ivory, which says fair skin with pink undertone, but I can tell you the lightest shade Ivory is not super fair, and it also looks like they only have about 2 deep shades, so it seems like there's 25 shades of like medium. I'm gonna insert swatches right here so you can see how the shade Ivory compares to some of the other foundations that I own. I feel like I almost just hit myself in the face with that. All right, so swatch time. Right here is the Tarte Amazonian Clay Foundation in the lightest shade Ivory. Next over is Dermacol 208, which is my closest shade match. Pure Cosmetics Baradol and Porcelain, also a really good shade match for me, even though these two look totally different. Urban Decay Naked Skin Foundation in 0.5 and Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless in 110. So reading some of the claims on Sephora's website, it says it's a long-lasting foundation powered by Amazonian clay that imparts a matte finish. So I have combination skin. I get pretty oily throughout the day, so we'll see if this Amazonian clay helps to control some of that. It says get 12 hours of flawless coverage, long-wearing, skin-perfecting formula, SPF 15, full coverage, supremely buildable, weightless texture, and that's it. The packaging of this I like. I think it's just kind of, you know, simple but cute, squeeze tube. Kind of reminds me of Washington, Oregon. Very hippie, organic-y. Organic-y is now a word. So that's all of the information on this foundation. If you've been enjoying 15 days of foundation and you're excited, day 7, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Let's jump into it. If you want to see my thoughts and how it applies and where I start the day, you're in the right place. Just keep watching. All right, so I actually feel pretty shitty right now, but we're gonna roll with this and hope I can make it through this video. So it's 9:49. So I actually didn't watch my old video on this foundation because I just wanted to come at it with like a fresh first impression, you know what I'm saying? Haven't used this in years, probably about 4 years. I do remember that I could never really make it look good on my skin. I think I used to mix this to wear it. I'm gonna use my Morphe damp sponge on one side of my face, and then I think I'm gonna use my e.l.f. foundation brush because this one's typically good for like denser kind of cream foundations. I've already washed, moisturized, primed my face. It looks very moussey on the back of the palette. It feels like it's drying super fast, like you put it on and then it's kind of there. Kind of frustrated because I woke up at 6:30 today, worked out, and was planning on starting filming really early and having like a super productive day, and then had to take one of my migraine pills and have felt like shit the last few hours. The pills started to kick in, but I feel pretty crap right now. But I wanted to get the foundation on at least so I could start the wear test. It's hard to do these videos when you have to start it late in the day, so I like to keep them on for like 10 hours. I'm gonna film this part of the video and then hopefully come back when I feel better and film the intro. Looks slightly yellow, but I think it can work. Getting about medium coverage, you can still see redness and acne and stuff coming through down here. Not totally full coverage. Doesn't look particularly good on the center of my forehead, but on my cheek area, it's looking okay. There's certain parts where you can just see it almost looks a little bit dry, like around my nose area right here. But let's try the other side with the sponge. This is not applying well with the sponge, probably because of its moussey kind of consistency. That was very light coverage. I'm gonna switch to the brush because I feel like I'm just gonna waste product if I keep using the sponge, and then maybe smooth it out with the sponge afterwards. It looks pretty dry on my forehead. Right now, the way that this is sitting on my skin reminds me of the L'Oreal Pro Matte Foundation, which I have a whole other review on. It just looks dry. I'm not getting great coverage. I don't love the finish of it. I want to see if I can build this up since it didn't really cover my acne and stuff down here, and it's supposed to be full coverage. So it's building. I still wouldn't call this full coverage. Even with those 2 layers, you can still see like pigment coming through. So if you have acne, I mean, on my skin, it doesn't look full coverage. Even on my forehead, where I really don't have a lot to cover up, it seems like it's not totally covering there either. Just kind of smoothing over everything with the sponge to try and take away some of the texture. If you have any kind of texture, acne, I mean, it's emphasizing everything. My skin just looks really dry. By the way, got new earrings yesterday. It seems to be setting down. Yeah, I feel like I could definitely blend product on top of here. Right now it's 10 o'clock. I'm gonna do the rest of my makeup and I will be right back. All right, so it's now 10:49. The rest of my makeup's on. We're gonna call the check-in time 10 o'clock because that's when I finished up my face makeup. I actually did end up powdering my face, but we're still gonna call the check-in time 10 o'clock since that was literally at like 10:02. So I used my favorite IT Cosmetics Celebration Foundation Illumination. If I use a powder in one of the foundation videos, it's one of my like 4 or 5 go-to powders because I know what they do, I know how they perform and wear throughout the day and everything. This is my favorite powder when you have a foundation that looks like total shit. This just like revives your skin, makes it look like skin again, and that's kind of what it did to this foundation. The foundation, by the way, did oxidize about half a shade within like 5 minutes, but even with the powder on top, I don't feel like it looks good enough to the point where I would wear it again, either on its own or with the powder on it. We'll see how it wears throughout the day. If it's long lasting, it might be a good one to mix in with other foundations, but I can tell you off the bat, I do not like this one on my skin on its own. If this powder can't fix a foundation, you know something's fucked up. Basically, it just looks pretty heavy. You can see it already creasing around like my nose area. Center of my forehead looks a lot better with the powder on it now, but it does just look a little bit heavy. This powder does add a little bit of coverage too. You can still see my acne down here because I didn't bring the powder down that far, but I did get a little bit more coverage after setting my face. So on the rest of my face for bronzer, highlight, and blush, I tried out these new Makeup Forever. There's like different trio duo options, and they're basically just magnetic pans that you can stick in here. I'm gonna have the exact shades listed down below, but I went in with this lighter contour shade. This highlight is super pretty. If you like a pinky kind of purple highlight, I really like that. I also really liked the blush shade I tried. This one is beautiful. It has a little bit of like a glow to it. I tried out the Pure My Little Pony palette for the first time. I actually went to this launch event in LA. This is the first time I tried out the palette, and it could have just been the shades that I used. I used the shade Generosity right here, which is that matte one. That one was nice, but then I went in with Stormy King and attempted to put that on my lid, and this shade is pretty horrible. There's like almost no payoff. You really have to pack it on. I tried using it wet, dry, with a brush, with fingers. This shade just really did not work. I ended up having to go in with the Pure Trolls palette, and I used this shade Guy Diamond right here, which is beautiful. I ended up putting that on the center of my lid. Trolls palette, I love. Every shade I've used in here is beautiful. Matte shades, shimmer shades. This one, definitely a different formula. I'm gonna keep playing around with it and see if some of the other shades are good. I tried to use Kindness, which is the yellow shade, on my lower lash line. I ended up having to use the Makeup Forever Aqua XL in M40 to get like the real yellow going. So I don't know, I'm gonna give this another shot, play around with some of the shades I didn't use, but so far I'm not super impressed with this one. You guys know, I'll tell you what I think about something no matter what, and that one I'm not feeling right now. And then lips, I totally forgot about this lipstick. If you want like the nudist nude liquid lipstick ever, this is Be Elegant in the shade Nudist. I don't even know if they still make this. It's kind of like an indie brand, but I'll link it down below if they do. And then I used the BH Cosmetics lip liner in Sandy. So I think that's everything. Pill kicked in, feeling a little bit better right now. 10 o'clock check-in time. Next check-in I do will be in natural lighting. So I'll see you guys in a few hours. Okay, so it's now 2:45, so it's been on for almost 5 hours. So besides the shade being too dark, with the powder on, it looks really nice right now. It's wearing pretty well. The only area where I don't like how it looks is around my nose area, upper lip, and like down here it looks a little bit heavy. Yeah, you can see it like creasing around here. And on my upper lip, it just looks like you can totally see it around here. My forehead looks really good. My forehead looks smooth right now. Here's what the rest of my face looks like. So right now I would say it's wearing pretty well. We'll see how it looks by the end of the night. See you guys then. So it is 8:20, so it's been on for a little over 10 hours. And I just got sucked into Quantico, which I've never seen before. I just watched like 2 episodes. It is so good so far. I'm like into it. I had to pause it to do this check-in. So even though it still looks not the best around my nose area like it has all day, it has held up really well. It's not breaking down a whole lot. I've definitely been oilier, especially with this powder. It still just looks kind of like dewy. It doesn't look oily. I think these lights are kind of like reflecting off even more, but it really doesn't look that oily in real life. So I do think it's held up well on my skin. I would definitely not wear this by itself. I don't like the dryness texture of it. It just looks pretty heavy on my skin alone. But I do think I would mix this in with maybe something like Dermacol, to like lighten it and smooth it out and see if the Tarte helps make it last longer. So I will try mixing this one. I do think this could be a good mixer for me. Don't like it on its own. I would say this one is probably best for oily skin, dry skin. I think this would be a complete disaster on because it looked dry on me. If you've tried this one, let me know what you think. I know a lot of people love this foundation. I hope you guys like this video. If you're excited for day 8 tomorrow, don't forget to give this a thumbs up. Love you guys. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow. Bye.